So looking at it, bro, we're going to have to go ahead and get that to at least 10,000. See you guys there. Today on DNVR Buffs Live, Coach Prime, Colorado, Fran Brown, Syracuse, basically one step away from making history as it comes to spring football. And also, 3 weeks out from the spring portal, what will be Colorado's number one priority? Let's do it. Let's go.
Squad. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live on this beautiful spring Monday in Colorado. I think it was 70 degrees when I walked out the door earlier today.
Yep.
Sound about right?
How are we all feeling?
Beautiful.
I feel great, man. It's going to be a great week to be a Colorado Buffalo.
Yes, it will be.
I think so, man. Got my day started. Dip my face in some ice water. Got me a banana.
Your banana, though?
Banana peel on the face. Get the skin looking all sparkly all night.
Did you do your 5 minutes of journaling, too?
I honestly, bro, I didn't have time, you know?
Wow.
Despite waking up at 4:30 a.m., you know, I just ran out of time.
4:36 or whatever.
It was a rough morning, man.
Is that the biggest meme of all time, honestly?
Bro, yes, it got like a billion views.
Yeah.
People are going to hate watch him into being famous.
Okay,
We've seen it so many times.
What's crazy is that happened, and then I was like, okay, like this is this guy's only video. But now I'm seeing like there's already a video for everything.
Yes, he's
Like,
really. I've been seeing like
been doing
offsets
this.
of people.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's like apparently this is like a whole like thing that like it's like a community
Wow.
of like different people doing this like morning routine type.
It's like
thing.
the adage of like there's a Drewski video for everything. Yeah. Like somehow this guy's already there, but I only learned about him yesterday or 2 days ago.
This is how you reach fame in 2025, bro.
Swear.
You just need one, and if you have a whole library after that one hits, you're made.
It's true.
It's over.
and
This could be ours.
This could be ours.
and we're already starting to learn like too much of him. Like, did you see like his highlight tape?
Yeah.
Leaked and whatnot.
Oh,
Like,
no.
His stats, like he used to play football. Apparently, like he was a running back.
Was
Yeah,
he
I
like
think he's
that?
at Alcorn State.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw someone did like my Bears mock, and it was just him number one.
I saw that too.
That's a banger.
Man.
That's crazy.
I just love that's the best part of the internet is the memes that are 3 layers deep of a meme.
Yes.
And like if you weren't there that day, you have no idea.
right.
Like, so do y'all know about like the original dude who used to do like the routine? His name was Drew Walls.
Yeah.
Like, and he like dropped like 2 videos this weekend, and everybody was like, "Damn!" Like he had to come out and let everybody know that he really does
He's
this routine.
still
shit.
here, bro.
reclaim his territory.
There's some real competition in the routine game. It's crazy.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's your actual morning routine?
Go first.
I mean, I don't know. Wake up, roll out of bed, like go to the bathroom, and then just start like checking. Honestly, it's checking for news for the show.
So the only thing that I could relate to for him is like he wakes up early just to bullshit around for hours, and that's what I do too. Like, that's another symptom of getting older. Like I used to just use the night for all of my free time, and now it's like I set my alarm to an earlier hour, just so I can have some time in the morning to just like do shit that I want to do.
Haven't reached that level yet.
Yeah, same.
Like drink some coffee and watch a YouTube video. That's
What time are you setting your alarm?
7:30, sometimes earlier.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
What's the bigger meme right now? That guy or Amir Khan?
What time's your alarm?
I don't set an alarm. which sucks. Like I pretty much just wake up every morning now between like 7:45 and 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I got to a point where I just didn't have to use an alarm anymore, which I hate.
I don't need it either, but I still do it.
Yeah. There's something peaceful about waking up without an alarm, though.
The worst part is the weekends when you want to sleep in and you still wake up.
Yeah.
Or like we were out until 2 a.m. on Saturday.
Yep.
And then I was like, all right, I got to sleep in tomorrow to like make this work. And boom, 7:30 hits. I'm wide awake.
Yeah, I was up at like 8 a.m. Sunday morning, but I took like a real early nap. Like I napped at like noon to like 12. It felt amazing.
I just watched college basketball all day.
I'm trying to like see if like I can relate to any part of bro's morning routine, and I don't think there is anything in there that I'm like, oh yeah, I do that too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I just stand on the balcony for an hour sometimes doing nothing.
You do that?
Yeah.
Like I just imagine you being like that. I just imagine you being like that Ben Affleck meme on your balcony, just like cigarette.
Pretty much.
Oh man.
Pretty much. What's the bigger meme right now, though? Him or Amir Khan?
It's bro.
It's not Amir. Amir's time is come and gone. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. I thought the same when they lost. It just keeps going though.
I haven't seen anything since they lost, except for the fact that he got hired. He's going with Will Wade to NC
Yeah, that was
State.
the last I heard of it actually.
There's like interviews popping up with him on my stuff. Like,
Damn.
Yeah. It's only as cool as far as you go. Like, no one's thinking about Sister Jean after Loyola Chicago loses.
I swear. Not till March.
that's true.
Facts, Cornholia. Bro throwing the Van Cleef bracelet just to get a workout in. It's insane behavior. And do you think so? You know how like the faceless woman in those videos?
Yes.
Like, do you think that's like his girl, or do you think that's like a personal assistant?
I don't know. Also, Titus said 7:30 is not early. Well, it's earlier than I need to wake up. You feel me?
Sure, I think 7:30 is early. Yeah, yes. I just think 7:30 is
for people
early.
who work like regular jobs, 7:30 is not early. But you know, like the other thing for me is I have no commute. You know, my commute's literally 6 minutes.
Right.
So if I had to be here for a meeting at 10, I wouldn't really need to wake up until like 9:30.
Swear.
But yeah, I mean, the first thing I have on my schedule in the morning now is a workout at 9.
Yeah.
So I could wake up at 8:30, but I wake up at 7:30 so I can just have an hour for me.
I settled into like a noon workout now with the show, and now at 3.
No, I'm still evening workout.
I just can't do that.
Gets me working out wakes me up.
I get that. I mean, that's why, like in high school, football practice is like 6:30 in the morning or whatever. Like that was way better than any other alternative.
Even last night, I was lazy all day, but I had to get my steps goal in, so I went to the gym at 10 p.m. And I didn't get to sleep until like 1:30.
What is your steps goal? 10,000?
No, it's not even steps. It's calories burned.
I see.
What's your goal at? Like 7?
Yeah, 750.
All right, we will talk about the Colorado Buffaloes today. Some recruiting updates. Fits for Shedeur in the NFL. We'll play some buy or sell. Handful of questions in there. Talk a little bit of March Madness. Don't worry, Malachi. We're talking football now. Because it seems like Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes are one step closer to actually having a real spring game with Fran Brown and the Syracuse Orange.
Jeez.
Apparently, there's been paperwork filed. Really, the hurdle is the NCAA Division I Football Oversight Committee is going to meet on April 10th, and they could allow a waiver then to let these two teams play because it is a rule that these two teams or any teams can't play outside of the football season. There are some hurdles with that, though, because Syracuse's spring game is scheduled for April 12th, just 2 days after that meeting, with the Buffaloes being scheduled for the 19th.
They'll probably just do both, no?
Maybe. I mean, they could just, well, I don't know, though, because you're only allowed 15 practices. You'd want to at least use one, I'd imagine maybe even 2, like a joint practice thing before the
3,
game.
Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the game counts as one, correct?
Yes. So, it seems like they'd have to have an alternative schedule already laid out, kind of.
Yeah, if I were them, I would just basically schedule 3 practices those days anyway into my spring schedule. And if it gets shut down, then you just still have those 3 practices in the bag.
But then you'd have to technically reschedule your spring game then, right? Because you're a whole week ahead of Colorado. Colorado would have 3 more practices.
What I'm saying is have your spring game happen as the 4th to last practice rather than the last.
I see what you mean, yeah.
So you can do your spring game. You know, I don't know if they sell tickets or what, but you probably don't want to like redo all of those plans.
Yeah.
So you just have your spring game. And I'm sure they already had a spring schedule, so they're probably just like, let's just say take the next 3 Fridays off that they were going to work out to have them on the back end.
Is this going to become the new normal? Do they change this rule to make it so other teams can do this, or is this just like a one-time, we'll see.
I think once...
If this happens, next year every serious program in the country will be doing it.
Especially when it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a massive success. Both TV ratings and I think just the competition that both teams get out of it. And Fran Brown and I think Coach Prime afterwards are going to be like, this is exactly what we needed. And when coaches are going to see and hear that, they're going to be like, we're tripping if we don't do this.
Here's what I think is going to happen, and it's unfortunate. But I think that they're going to say, well, it's not fair if only Colorado and Syracuse get to do it this year, so we're going to allow it starting next year so everyone has an equal opportunity to do it.
I could see that.
I can see that because I was just thinking, like, this might just be like too last minute to try to put all this together.
That's what I was trying to get to with the Syracuse schedule. Like,
there's a lot of planning that has to go into this, especially when it's not like one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 2 or 3 practices and a game day. Like, this might just be logistically too difficult to figure out in, 3 weeks pretty much. So I could see them using that as a reason, like, hey, let's give this a full year. Let's, as a NCAA, figure out the rules so that everybody can do this starting in 2026. I can see that happening, although that would suck.
I think what's actually fair, though, is that Colorado and Syracuse get to do it before everyone else because they were the teams that wanted to do it and that were proactive about it.
Treat it like a trial run, and whatever goes right, you use it, and whatever doesn't, you change it, you fix it for next year.
If other teams are already saying they want to cancel theirs, like why not let them go at it this year?
Well, and if you're the NCAA, maybe you're saying like this is going to save the concept of the spring game.
Sure.
And I don't know if they care about that, but who will be a huge ally for Colorado and Syracuse in this is ESPN, who I believe has deals with both leagues.
I think so.
And can come into these talks and say, hey, we would really appreciate it if we were able to put this on TV. And, they could get real serious about it, send College Game Day or college football live, have them on set in Boulder during both the live practices and the spring game. Like if they're really in on it, it'll help because obviously money talks. So we'll see. I think that the fact that Coach Prime and Fran Brown are both, it doesn't sound like they're scared of the logistics.
No.
Like, they're just like, we don't care. We want to do it. So whatever logistical hoops we have to jump through, we'll just do them. And I think as long as Syracuse keeps those 3 practices in their back pocket, that's the only thing that I could see where they would say, like, well, this isn't fair. Syracuse would be breaking the rules by getting extra practices here. It has to fit within the limits. And so they just got to, in my opinion, keep 3 practices in their back pocket that they can use on their own if it gets shut down too.
Joel Klatt was talking about this earlier, and he brought up the concern for injuries with this. Would that be something that concerns you? Having a joint spring game?
What did he say exactly? Just like...
I'll find it here in just a second.
I mean, that could happen in any spring game or any action.
He was talking about, basically paraphrasing, I'll find the quote.
Sure.
But if you have these 2 teams go at it, it's going to be live action. Like, I wouldn't expect them to, line up and just do thud, especially when you're going against another team. Like, that's the whole concept of it, right? And so he was saying you can't, if you're playing against in a regular spring game against your own team, you kind of have that level of like, okay, this is still just like, it's not real as it would be lining up against another helmet. That's what he was bringing up with like the injuries concerns, that it'd be just full out.
The thing about injury concerns in sports is you can bring it up in any change. You want to extend the college football playoff? Injuries. You want to, add a practice or whatever to spring? Injuries. It's what a lot of coaches are afraid to do anything differently because of injuries. And again, the only 2 people who, in my opinion, their opinion matters on this is Coach Prime and Fran Brown.
Mm-hmm.
If they were so worried about the injuries, then they wouldn't be interested in doing this.
Exactly.
But if they're cool with it, then it's fine. And I mean, in this, trying not to use the word soft, in this more protective era of football, maybe you do give players the opportunity to opt out or something of that nature. I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But that's the only other people who is like, I guess their opinion matters on this would be the players. But I guarantee you these players who are competitors would love to go compete against another team.
Sure. But then like Colorado last year, you had no running backs. You literally had Isaiah Harge, who you had to just put in at running back for the sake of making the game function, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, there's like scenarios where that could happen. Where like, what if that happened last year? This thing was scheduled, and all of a sudden CU goes in, they're like, shoot, we're only like one running back is active, or maybe not even too deep entirely across the offensive line. Like, I'm just saying, that's what Joel Klatt was pointing out here with it.
Yeah. And then you just say, like, Syracuse, trade us one of your running backs.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like Coach Prime and Fran Brown seem like the type of dudes who have thought this out quite a bit. And if they felt like that there was a deficiency in terms of position, that they might not have bodies, just able bodies, to do this joint scrimmage / practice, I think either of them, or not both of them, would have probably shut this idea down. But the fact that it's gotten to this point, the fact that they have, file paperwork at the NCAA, I don't think that's a worry of them. As long as they don't touch the quarterback, as long as the quarterback stays upright, I think this will be just fine. And again, these are dudes who are used to playing thud, what I'm saying, or close to tackle in practice and making sure, their guys stay up and stay healthy. So I don't think it will be too much of a injury concern with this game. And also, too, it's April, what I'm saying? God forbid somebody does get injured. You got quite a bit of runway before the season, or you got, time to get ready. So I don't put too much stock into that.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on these guys have thought it out. And it's so collaborative that even if Colorado had no running backs, they would just figure something out.
Exactly.
For sure. I'm excited. I hope it happens, but we'll see. There's some decisions that have to be made. Let's take our first break. Shout out to the homies over at Fan Steak. If you want to directly impact the future of Colorado football, retaining the roster, and adding some more players with the portal coming up, hit up our friends at Fan Steak. They're offering a free $25 credit right now. No credit card required or strings attached. Just download the app and sign up. You could stake Jordan Seaton, these guys on the roster right now. We did Omari and Miller on Friday. But the portal is 2 weeks away-ish, right? A little more, give or take.
Yep.
So you're going to be already wanting to be signed up on Fanstake to get in on that. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com and use that promo code DNVR to help keep Jordan Seaton and all these great players on the Buffs and many more coming in the portal here soon.
Free $25.
Pretty much.
Not even pretty much. Just straight to it. Also, shout out to Toyota. Absolute best in the game. Best features, most reliable cars, the longest lasting cars. You guys have seen it in the chat. Some people talking about 300,000, 400,000. We saw someone, I can't remember if it was here or the Bronco show, said 600,000 miles on their Toyota, which is just remarkable. But it's not surprising if you've owned or driven a Toyota. They're just incredible machines. What can you say? And if you want to check out the new Land Cruiser, the new 4Runner, the new RAV4, or any of the other great models that they have, visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official partner of the Colorado Buffaloes and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Let's play buy or sell.
Less.
Got 5 of these. First one, whenever you're ready, Alyssa. The Big 12 will have at least 2 teams in this season's CFP. Buy or sell? You'll at least have one for sure. Do we finally get that at large?
I'm selling it.
Really?
The respect just isn't there for the Big 12 just yet. And it might come after this 2025 season.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like, with where the CFP is, with how the committee has kind of, voted the last, couple seasons and how they put together the CFP, I think it's just going to be one. And I feel like there's just a kind of a disrespect, so to speak, on the Big 12 when it comes to football. And that will prevent them from getting more than one team.
The one scenario in which I could see the Big 12 getting two is if one, like, let's just say for this part of it, for the sake of discussion, Colorado and Arizona State face off in the Big 12 title game.
Mm-hmm.
And Arizona State is like a 11 or 12 win team.
Okay.
Not 12. Let's say 10 or 11 win team. And Colorado wins. I could see them putting in Arizona State considering they like earned their stripes last year.
Sure.
But that's a very specific scenario.
Yeah.
My real fear here is that the Big 12 just lacks the star power needed to kind of like get national people on their side. I mean, obviously anything that happens at Colorado is star worthy. Mm-hmm. And then I do think that like the nation now knows who Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt are.
Yes.
Outside of that, I don't think anyone is like on to Avery Johnson or
Is that true?
any of those other guys.
And because with the expanded college football playoff, it's become a lot like the NCAA tournament with basketball, right? In March Madness, where like you're looking at resumes to decide these last couple of spots. And because, the Big 12 at the end of the season, their schedule is going to be filled with Big 12 opponents. You know what I'm saying? Their best wins are going to come against Big 12 teams. I feel like that's going to hurt them in terms of a committee. You're looking at their resume as potentially an at-large team, right? Like a team who doesn't actually win the conference championship. They're just going to look at their schedule and be like, their best wins are against Big 12 teams, and we already don't respect that conference.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the benefit of the doubt in terms of the at-large is going to go to the SEC or the Big 10, you know what I'm saying? Because they're going to have probably a win or two that is going to be looked at as a really good win.
I'd sell it, but I think the Big 12 did earn quite a bit of respect last year, especially Arizona State, and look what BYU did. I think a lot of people realized after the Colorado game, the Alamo Bowl, they were like, okay, we might have disrespected BYU a bit too much. Like, it's the thing we've talked about a lot this offseason. They just have grown men on their team.
Yeah.
And I think people just began to realize that again. I don't think it'll happen this year, but I think there's a chance that, if Colorado, like what you mentioned, RK, that's the pathway. Colorado has to win the Big 12, I think, and then someone else just has to kind of make noise alongside that because Colorado's brand carries itself right now. So
I wonder if the same might apply for BYU too, because like that seemed like a playoff team to me this year.
Yeah.
Obviously with how they finished the year last year, if they have, if they kind of take that momentum from the Alamo Bowl into this year, and they're 10-2, entering the Big 12 title game 11-1, and if they lose it, I wonder if they might also get some credit for what they showed in 2024 as a program. Bringing back their head coach, bringing back their quarterback, they're going to have trenches. So I think those might be the only two exceptions I can see, Arizona State and BYU. But other than that, I'd be pretty shocked if two teams, not, one of those three, ended up making the playoff.
Next one. It's better to lose on a buzzer beater than to be blown out. Buy or sell?
It's very dependent. It's very dependent.
What sport are we talking about here? Well, I guess it's obviously basketball.
Let's say basketball, just for recent events' sake.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's better to be blown out in that scenario.
I 100% agree.
I've seen the Buffs, unfortunately, get blown out in the tournament before, and it's just a nice, slow death,
Yeah.
Like
you're accepting it in game.
Yes. We played Pitt I don't know, 5-10 years ago. Not 10, but 5-7 years ago. And it was like 30-3 or something early in the game. And it's just like, okay. Like, every time you hit a three, you're like, oh, is this the moment? And then like they come back with two more and you're like, no, it's not the moment.
Right.
We're out. It's fine. Whereas what happened to CSU is the literal worst way you can go out.
Absolutely.
Because you had your moment where you were all the way up here,
right,
and then all of that air gets sucked out of the balloon.
Yep.
I really disagree with y'all. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
I really do. Because, again, in CSU's case, right, their last game of this season is going to be remembered as a game that they probably should have won, that they lost on a buzzer beater.
Okay.
As opposed to getting blown out. Their last game, the last game of the Nico Medved era is going to be remembered as an all-time great game that ended on a buzzer beater when it could have ended up as, the game's over at halftime. That's not fun for anybody. I would rather be invested throughout the entire game and feel like at the end of the game, damn, we were right there. We had a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about for y'all, the Broncos game, the playoff game against the Bills.
Yeah.
That game was over at halftime.
Yeah.
I feel like y'all would have preferred a 40-34 final with Josh Allen on the last play of the game throws a touchdown. Y'all would be turnt, and y'all feel like y'all would have been very, very happy with that scenario over what happened. How so?
Because in the NFL and what you're talking about, like, you're keeping that same team for next year. It's like Bo Nix's rookie season. You're building off of that.
Right.
Whereas in college sports or like in the tournament, like CSU's, it's been one day. They don't even have the same coach anymore.
Yeah.
It'll only be a matter of hours before half their team's in the portal. So it's like, that's your one thing. Like, you don't get to really build off of that.
But I feel like you could, though. But like some of those players who might want to follow Nico elsewhere, just to Minnesota, or just want to transfer elsewhere, like, you know what I'm saying? That might be a reason they stay. Like, listen, we were, a play away from the Sweet 16, as opposed to we just got blown out in the second round. I'm gone. I'm out of here. Like, I feel like that's a big difference. And I feel like you would prefer the close game throughout that ends on a buzzer beater.
I think that's how I'd rather feel as a player, though. As a fan, like, you just saw like your heart get ripped out of your chest, like right in front of you, basically, with that three or with that shot at the end.
Yeah.
And then the three you had, like, that's the full scale of emotions.
That's what I mean. Going from that high to that low, that quick is hard.
Yeah, you went from biting your fingernails to, oh my God, we're going to win this game, to I just want to die, basically, in a matter of literally like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks either way, but a blowout, that's not fun for anybody. You sitting there at halftime, know the game is over, and you still got to play a whole nother half. That's not fun for fan, player, nobody. Coaches, that's not fun.
You're right.
That's not
cool. In terms
cool.
of like memories and whatever,
Yeah.
like, you'll remember where you were when you hit that shot to take the lead.
Those CSU players are going to remember that. It's going to suck, but they're going to be like, gee, we should have won that game. And they're forever going to be able to talk about that travel.
But as a fan, that becomes
Make sure
a game.
You put up the air quotes.
Yeah, that's travel. Was it a travel, bro?
No.
I didn't think it was either, bro. I saw a tweet that literally was like, I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone the way this is just universally being accepted as a travel. When I didn't really think it was, especially watching it live.
I've seen it 50-50 in terms of people thinking it's a travel and people that's not. As I said on Twitter today, if you've watched a basketball game since 1999, that's not a travel. And again, I also said on Twitter, like, I get the CSU fans who are saying it.
For sure.
Because I would be doing the same. You're just, you're in so much pain. You're just grasping.
You're just coping. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just cope.
It's pure cope. And I would be coping too. So I can't even blame them for it. But everyone else, it's like, what are we talking about here? And then it's like, whether it was the gather step in college or blah, blah. It's like, if you watch the games, yes, it is. Have they officially added it to the rule book the way the NBA did? No. But I saw a Maryland fan who was going through like every play. It's like CSU had 3 or 4 that could have been called if we were doing the by the book 1990s travel.
Exactly.
But no one wants that.
No. 100%.
So it wasn't a travel.
We'll do one more, then we'll hit a break.
Can you imagine if they called that though?
I mean, yeah, that would have been worse
chaos.
that would have been the worst thing to do in that moment.
Yes.
For sure. Especially for a tournament that's been lacking in any kind of like big moments like that.
Yeah, bro, we finally get a buzzer beater and motherfuckers just crying about a travel. Like, that is sick. Like, come on.
Next one. Buy or sell. The first Buff drafted after Shedeur and Travis will be before day 3 of the draft. Do we get a day 2 pick out of this group? Particularly LeJounte or Jimmy.
Day 2 is only second round, right?
It's second and third.
Oh, it's second and third.
Yeah.
The first Buff drafted after Shedeur and Travis will be before day 3.
I'm going to have to sell that.
Yeah.
And I think partly because it'll have to probably be a receiver. And just like we were talking about before the show, like, this receiver class is crazy. Like, Kyle Williams is getting buzzed, and rightfully so. Like, he's a really good player, but because he's at Washington State, he's kind of being slept on a little bit. Like, this receiver class is very deep. Like,
it is. It's just not top heavy like it has been in previous years. There's not going to be 4 or 5 first round guys. There might be 3, but I mean, there's going to be contributors all the way through the draft in terms of these wide receivers, like you're saying, especially the guys that we mentioned. We still have a pro day coming up too, though. Could that change things for them?
Potentially. You know what I'm saying? Especially if, that pro day, people are going there to look at them times, especially for a Jimmy Horn Jr. who we probably expect to run. I'm sure Will Shepherd wants to improve on his 4.59 that he ran at Big 12 Pro Day as well. So it could be a big day for a few different guys. That April 4th Pro Day that was announced, by ESPN at least, that they're going to be there in Boulder, live from that event, which should be a movie.
Facts. I'll buy just for the sake of it. I think one of those receivers gets a day 2 pick.
I want to buy it.
I
wish I would have seen like someone getting a bunch of buzz, and I just feel like it's not happening yet.
Right.
You might be saving it for next week, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our next break.
LeJounte did have a nice little moment.
Jimmy did too.
Out of the Shrine Bowl, he was. It seemed like LeJounte had a lot of buzz. Even Will.
He did. And, well, I mean, the NFL just doesn't see it when it comes to Will, apparently. They didn't even invite him to the Combine. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy with, like, the Steelers buzz and stuff, like, I could see.
No doubt. But shout out to our homies over at Game Time, man. It is the playoffs are rapidly approaching, both for the NBA, for the NHL. Obviously, the NCAA tournament is still in full swing. The Sweet 16 tips off this weekend. And Game Time, man, it's the best place for you to find seats at the event that you want to go to, whether it's a game, whether it's a concert, some other type of event at whatever venue. Game Time has you covered. Game Time picks with their curation makes it easier to save more on sports, on concerts, comedy, theater, whatever it is that you desire. The lowest price guarantee as well comes from Game Time. If it's not the lowest price, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And of course, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. That's Game Time ticket coverage. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game Time.
Game time.
Or redeem code Buffs, too. That works. Also, shout out to our friends at Monarch Money. You guys like money, don't you?
Love it.
Our friends at Monarch Money have created an app that basically just helps you save money. You can see all your accounts, investments, credit cards, all in one place. You can see exactly where your money is headed to so that you can make the best decisions to, fit your budget. Help save you some money here and there. It was named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, and it's the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. Hit them up. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR.
There's no way, bro. Lloyd said if you're at the rec or the park, you're calling that a travel.
The opposite is true.
Yes.
The opposite is true.
If you call that a travel, bro, you get laughed off the court.
Swear.
Yeah.
By the way, I just got made to feel very old. So I remember I was like, it couldn't have been 10 years ago.
10
with
years
the
ago
CU
what?
Pitt game.
Oh, yeah, right.
It was 11 years ago.
Sheesh.
And I wasn't that far off, though, on my recollection. I said it was 30-3 at one point. It was 30-7.
Huh.
And
Yeah, bro. Come on.
it was 13-0 to start the game. So bad, bro.
That ended up being, what, 30 piece?
It ended up being 77-48.
Yikes. Do we really only have 9 likes right now? Hit the like button.
Yeah, come on, y'all.
Smack the like button, y'all. What y'all doing?
What's the next?
Make that part of your morning routine.
Buy or sell. The position Colorado needs out of the portal the most is running back.
Sell.
What position?
Offensive tackle.
Where you going, Scotty?
I'm selling that as well. And I'm just going to say linebacker. Not that I don't believe in the linebackers currently in that room, the Martavius Frenches, the Reggie Hughes, the Jalen Westers, the Jeremiah Browns, but I think that should be a priority here, especially because that's a position where you can get experience, right? There are a lot of guys at that position in particular
you got
who
Nakai
have a
this
lot
time
of
last
production, right? You get in Nakai, right? And maybe somebody who just entered, we can talk about it a little bit later, but that linebacker position, that's somebody that you can get in right away and they can be a day one impactful starter. Again, we have the easy example of Nakai Hill-Green, but I like where the linebacker room is at, but I think it would be smart to add an experienced, productive body to that room.
I think running backs up there, I think they may need another corner more than anything right now, though. Especially with Makari Vickers, you don't know what his status is going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
You have the top three who are arguably, if not the top three best cornerback trio in college football. After that,
It's a good point,
it's
bro.
quite a few questions.
Kind of gets thin.
And we've seen over the last 2 seasons, especially, you just have one game and you can lose 3 cornerbacks and you're in deep, deep trouble all of a sudden.
It's a good point, bro. I think you might have sold me actually on that.
Yeah.
Bro, I was convinced that just the like counter was wrong.
Yeah.
So I went to check on YouTube.
That's what I'm doing.
I just became the 9th like. What's going on, guys?
There's no way.
What's going on,
YouTube's
guys?
got to be tripping on us.
Because someone just said they were 10 too.
This is crazy.
I just liked it to become number 9 as well. So
So maybe there is accounting wrong, an accounting error going on here.
Lock in with us, y'all. If y'all watching this right now, smack that like button.
Maybe we're just having a really bad show and we don't realize it.
Yeah, maybe they just
that
hated
could be
that
the
opening
case. Could be the
about
case.
Ashton Hall. They just really didn't like the morning routine
the chat's
discussion.
saying offensive line, tackle.
Where's that commenter who was like, this? Remember that day? He's like, this show's been terrible. Watch at the end, they're going to say it was good.
Oh, man.
You said tackle's the biggest need.
So here's why. To me, it's the position with the biggest question mark. We don't know who's going to start there.
Sure.
At running back, I think if you went into the season with this running back room, I wouldn't call it like a deficient position. But because I don't know what's happening at right tackle right now, I just can't confidently say that it won't be a deficient position.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go, let's just say a starting tackle from a Big Ten or SEC school for whatever reason had a falling out with their coach and they want to come to Colorado and they were like, a former second team all conference.
Sure.
And that became your starting right tackle, then you would just be like, the offensive line is good. Like we're set.
No doubt.
And you would feel really, really confident about what was happening with that line this year.
Sure.
I feel you on that because we look at Zy Crisler right now, all locked in at that starting right guard spot. It'd be cool if we had that for somebody else at that right tackle spot. Like we know this guy is starting, right? Mona's probably going to be in the mix. We hope Phillip is going to be back in time and healthy, ready to go for the season. I think he will be, but that's a question mark right now. It's part of the reason I went with linebacker, right? Mm-hmm. We can assume that those guys are going to be in the mix: French, Hughes, Lester, Jeremiah Brown. But it would be nice if they added somebody who are like, he's a starter.
Sure.
He's starting linebacker right now, and that's what his production kind of dictates. So, but corner as well, right? Because that depth is going to be tested at some point.
And then just to go back to the original question, do you guys feel good at running back right now with what they have?
I do.
Seems like Micah's missing some time. We haven't really seen him too much on well off. So
Yeah, for me, it's the room is solid.
it is.
If there is a star available out there, you definitely couldn't convince me that Colorado
Right.
shouldn't be going after them hard.
I just want to hear. I want to hear Marshall Faulk's honest thoughts on this running back room after 10 practices with them.
Yeah.
I think that'll tell us a lot.
But his thoughts, his public thoughts or his private, his behind closed doors thoughts?
Marshall Faulk strikes me as a guy who is going to tell folks what it is in the media, right? He's not going to throw anybody under the bus or, say this guy sucks. But I think he will. I think we'll be able to glean some things from Marshall Faulk. That's just off the first impressions that I got from him.
I agree.
Sean Banks in the chat says we need the right tackle. Has just jumped in the portal from Boise State. His name is Hector Zeroni.
Stop it.
Isn't that the kid
From Holes? No way that's his
Yes.
name, bro.
I think he might just be messing with you, bro.
Did you look it up? Did you look it up or are you just going off this?
I'm just going off the comment.
No chance.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Stanley Yelnats? Is that the left tackle?
Hey, man, if it's a Hector Zeroni out there, we need him.
Who's Hector Zeroni? Zero.
Zero.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Zero's a legend.
No, good comment. You got me to read it, Sean.
You really just ran with that shit.
Maybe he's saying that they have a hole at right tackle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was getting at. Last buy or sell. After next week's pro day, Travis Hunter will be in talks for the Titans at first overall.
I think I'm gonna have to sell that. I think Cam Ward is just locked in at number 1 overall to Tennessee.
See, I'm selling it as well, but it's because I think Shedeur is going to be the
really?
one who enters the talks for number 1.
Interesting. I will buy it just because of the generational quote.
Yep.
What Travis is going to do at pro day, like if he goes and runs a 4.3, jumps like 40 inches in the vert, is doing DB drills, and then he's catching bombs from Shedeur on the other side.
Yeah.
Titans are going to be there. They're going to see it in person.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about Hector Zeroni.
0. I feel you. I mean, Shedeur is interesting because, I mean, this will be his first time throwing.
For sure.
Since the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah.
And that might, you know, get people really excited, or people who might have forgot what Shedeur is really like, throwing the pillow around. So that could be something. But again, I think the top 3, probably the top 4 is, I think, locked up right now.
I've just already seen, like, I've been talking about these narrative shifts, and I feel like the Shedeur upward narrative shift is happening right now.
Yeah.
I saw like Bucky Brooks put out that he's his number 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
That passing chart came out that everyone loves every year, and he's green arrows everywhere.
Yep.
And I'm just waiting for, like, right before the draft, it's just going to be like, the Titans have fallen in love with Shedeur Sanders, and now it's all shifted.
Hey, I'm laughing at the two Alyssa. We got somebody else in the portal, bro.
We already got him with that one. That
No,
was before you were on this.
knew
It's
that.
true.
I caught that halfway.
Have you ever seen that clip?
What clip?
It was like it was in the height of Hawktua, and I
Spit on a thing.
I was like, Jake, tweet's coming up. Like, I just sent it to you, and it was literally like a Photoshop tweet, and it said like, it was like Boise State tight end Hawktua Spatanatang has entered the portal. He's like, is this real? I was like, it's definitely real, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm dead.
The links you guys will go to mess with me is something. I swear.
Oh man.
Yeah, on that, Bucky Brooks put out an article recently why Shedeur Sanders is the 2025 NFL Draft top quarterback, plus 4 ideal team fits. He goes through all the strengths and weaknesses. He's been consistent too. He's had Shedeur, I think, number 1 for quite a while. Really no questions about it too. He's just kind of stood on it. The 4 teams, though, that he's mentioned. 1, team picking 2nd overall, Scotty, the Cleveland Browns.
Interesting.
The next one, team picking 6th overall, the Las Vegas Raiders. After that, it gets interesting because we've theorized that like 6 or 7 is Shedeur's floor, right, with the Raiders and Jets. Mm-hmm. Bucky throws in the New Orleans Saints at number 9, and then the Los Angeles Rams picking at 26. The Rams one really interests me because it's clear
I like all those fits.
Sean McVay is thinking post Matt Stafford already.
Have to.
Yeah.
They were talking about trading him this offseason. They came to the conclusion that for this year's team, the best option is Matt Stafford, but it's clear that they want to see the younger talent out there, bring someone else in to be the heir apparent. Could they be aggressive enough to go up there and get him, though?
Potentially. That was a long time ago, but they traded up for Jared Goff.
They did.
I know you just don't buy the idea of him sitting behind somebody, though.
No, I don't. I really don't. And that's why I don't think the Raiders is happening anymore either.
That's right.
It's just not wired that way. Like,
and if you drafted him, you should know that he's not wired that way.
yes.
You know?
And not to say he wouldn't be professional about it or anything like that. It's just like, you draft Shedeur Sanders because you're ready to go. And you're going in on the Shedeur Sanders plan.
But I feel like we kind of said that about Julian this year for this team too, right? They still brought in a Caden Salter. Like, I don't think you can still have
That's
Shedeur.
reverse order, though.
It is.
You could take Shedeur and then get a veteran to come in with him.
Sure. But that's just not how the NFL works. Like, even the Browns brought in Kenny Pickett. Like, for the Giants brought in Jameis. Like, the Raiders brought in Geno. Like, it's just...
but the Raiders didn't just bring in Geno.
No,
They brought in
made
Geno
a
to be
move.
their starter.
Yeah.
And they brought him in because he's the old quarterback of the the new coach. Like,
Right.
It's like a reunion thing. Like, I don't know. I pretty much see Shedeur's floor as 3. now, and it's just like he's going to one of those teams, and they're going to start him from week 1.
I do think his absolute floor, though, is 9 in New Orleans.
I'm cool with him being in black and gold. You have no idea how fast I'll buy that jersey.
I think that's interesting because obviously Kellen Moore being the head coach there now.
And the Saints really need something to like look forward to in the future.
Unless Kellen Moore really likes Spencer Rattler, like this might be his, best and only opportunity to take a quarterback that he likes. So that'd be interesting.
The way that Atlanta embraced Coach Prime.
Oh yeah,
New Orleans would embrace Shedeur in that way, and that would be 100%. Epic.
They just need something, bro. But they're also like in cap purgatory, though, for sure.
They've been there for years. Yeah. The cap isn't real.
Sean Payton started that, and they haven't paid the bill yet.
No, they just keep kicking the can down the road.
Why would they when the cap goes up $25 million a year, bro?
Just keep kicking it.
A little bit of recruiting. We are getting a visit May 9th through 11th. 3-star tight end Julius Miles will visit Colorado then. Coach Bartoloni and Colorado staff have been really hitting the recruiting classes hard for these tight ends. I mean, you get Zach Adkins this year, but it's clear they want to build that room through recruiting. And they've been on it probably sooner than most other rooms, right? A lot of portal emphasis across the team in other rooms, but tight end, they've really struggled there. They're getting these young guys in, though.
Is he more of a inline? He's more of a pass catcher.
He is listed at 6'6", 215, so that would suggest to be more of a flex tight end. But who knows at the high school level what he's playing as.
He's a hooper, too.
Yep.
Reached 1,000 career points halfway through his high school career. Damn.
That's crazy.
He averaged 27 and 10 as a junior.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with the basketball player Tweety Carter?
Can't say that I am.
All-time leader in high school points. 7,400.
Wow.
That's Denver 2,000 a season.
Now here's the catch. He started playing high school basketball when he was in 7th grade. So he played 6 years of high school basketball.
Not
yes, because he was like that already.
How do they allow that?
That'd be happening in the South quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's from the South, but I know that'd be happening.
I can't remember where he's from, but I randomly was just thinking about him during March Madness. He played at Baylor. And
wild.
He was tiny too, like 5'10", but just the ultimate bucket in high school.
No, Miles looks like a pass catcher.
I want to say Tweety was from New Orleans area.
Last thing on recruiting, Oscar Rios, who we've talked about last week. Seems like Oklahoma State is in the lead for his recruitment.
Yep.
Colorado's right there. What's that?
Nothing. He was just saying from the South, and I said I think he was from the New Orleans area, which he was.
Okay. Kentucky and Virginia Tech have entered the race, though. From what Tom Loy's gathered from Rios' recruitment, it's completely wide open. He wants to go where he's wanted. It's that simple. I think that he needs these 5 trips, these OVs coming up to truly know where he's best suited. He's coming to Colorado. Last OV of his cycle, June 20th. So we'll see.
Oscar.
Let's go. It's my guy.
Do you want to hit the March Madness NIL thing real quick?
Yeah.
Is it cooked, bro? Is March Madness cooked, bro? As we know it? As we love it?
It might be. It actually might be.
I think so.
And I really hope that this was just really bad timing for a boring tournament. Because obviously this is a time where people would think like, oh, all of the changes have cooked the mid-major. But, you know, I was talking in our Slack this weekend and I was saying like, no one's going to even watch the Sweet 16 if we don't get a Cinderella. And then, you know, some of the bigger college basketball fans in the chat were like, no, like the matchups will be so good and this, that. And I'm like, the average person who watches March Madness does not watch to see good basketball. In fact, no one ever watches college basketball to see good basketball.
For real.
They want chaos. They want upsets. They want stories. They want Sister Jean and Amir Khan. They don't care about, you know, how good the matchup is between Duke and Arizona. Like, that's for the Final Four. When it gets down to the Final Four and it's all distilled down, they're like, all right, let's crown a worthy champion. But every moment up until then is all about the mid-majors, all about the upsets. And we didn't get really, this was the, it's fine. This was the first year since 2007 that no 11 seed or higher made the Sweet 16. And it's the first year ever that the Sweet 16 is entirely comprised of power programs.
Power 4, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So March Madness is in like I'm hovering my hand over the panic button.
Yeah.
If something like this were to happen again next year,
Yeah.
I would say like this is in big trouble.
And it was like the greatest average margin of victory in the first round of a tournament.
So
like,
many
ever,
blowouts.
I think.
That was part of it.
That
So many blowouts.
Yeah, there were hardly any good games. And even the games that were good, it was like, oh, the favorite just wins by 10 points in the last like 3 minutes or something.
There were a few games where like I just missed the first 5-6 minutes of action, and by the time I tuned in, the game was quite literally over. Like the team had like a 20+ point lead.
For real.
It's like that can't be fun for nobody.
And like I just kept waiting for it.
Exactly.
You know, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be one where an underdog gets out to a big lead, and they got to spend the whole game fighting off the favorite, and it just never happened.
Yep.
We only had like one, I think, which was the UCSD Michigan game, where it happened the other way, where it was like a big comeback from the underdog. And maybe they had a chance at the end. You know, Omaha, I think, put a little scare into somebody.
Sounds right. Yeah.
UNC Wilmington, but in the end, it was just like, I'm like a March Madness head. Like I live for March Madness, and I was like legitimately bored at times this weekend, and that makes me sad and worried. And here's the last thing I'll say on this is like, Colorado didn't have the money to put together a team that could compete this year.
Right.
How in the world is Loyola Chicago going to be able to do it when all of these players who are ballers are getting offered money? You know, I saw there was a guy on Arizona last night who's just like a role player, and they're like, oh, he was at like Princeton last year, and I was like, I think Princeton like made the tournament, and I'm just like, now
I could have used them.
Any time that a team even makes any noise and a player like gets on the big stage, they're just going to transfer up to a bigger program. And I don't blame them at all. But it is problematic for the excitement of the tournament.
And I think NIL is obviously playing a role, and it's, you know, in college football, it's a bit different, I think, because they do bring in most of the money, right? They are a positive revenue sport, and the roster size is so big, right? So you need so much money for college football, whereas college basketball, it's what, 15 guys ish on a roster. So the chunks are theoretically bigger for like a player on a roster, and it's even more at that power 4 level to go along with what you were saying about NIL. So if there's even a chance for these players to jump up a level to the power 4 and get this massive payday that wasn't even like feasible at the lower levels, it's a no-brainer.
Well, and like Dalton Connect, a star at Northern Colorado, in the bag to transfer to Colorado, enters the portal, starts getting 7-figure offers from Kansas, Tennessee, Duke. He goes to Tennessee, becomes a star, becomes a first-round pick in the NBA. Like, who could ever blame him? Chance McMillan was committed to CU, then gets offered more money by Texas Tech, goes there, leads the NCAA in three-point shooting this year. He's going to be, you know, a high pick. Like, it's working in the sense of like what's best for the student athlete.
Sure.
But it's weird that what's best for the student athlete isn't what's best for the sport.
Consequences to everything. And Pete Nakos at On3 reported this past weekend that every Power 4 starter is making at least $500,000.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
every Power 4 starter is making
left
at least
in the tournament.
He reported it as that. I don't know if it was in 2020, like this next season. That's the expectation.
Oh, he's like predicting it.
I was trying to find it too while you were talking, but I couldn't find it.
I can just tell you that.
But my thought was like,
definitely not true.
That was my thought, right? I was like, well, there's no way that applies to Colorado, and if it doesn't apply to Colorado, then it's definitely not applying to the Drakes and the San Diego States of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like that's this is where this is heading. And even I found this tweet from Nakos where he goes, the rising budgets are set to shake up the college basketball transfer portal. The top of Power 4 is going to be north of $10 million easily. Probably closer to $12 million or even $14 million for a basketball roster.
Dan, at that cap, that's almost like $1 million a player.
Exactly.
Which is insane.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we're heading. And, you know, I randomly, I think it was because of like CSU having a little run that like CU fans got like mad about the team not being good this year or whatever. So people were like complaining about Tad and this, that, and the other. And it's just like, Roy Williams couldn't come to Colorado and succeed right now. Mike Krzyzewski couldn't come to Colorado and succeed right now.
Nope.
And so, as much as you want to complain about Colorado fans settling for mediocrity in basketball, someone has to step up and like try and raise some money, or else we have no shot.
Yep.
Like literally no shot.
Nikos again this weekend he reported Louisville is prepared to spend $8 to $10 million in the transfer portal for next season's men's basketball roster.
Just in the portal, that's crazy.
And this is a team that obviously made the tournament, you know.
Yeah.
And took, you know, got a player from Colorado last year, Javon Hadley, transferred after, you know, a pretty good season, a pretty good run. Goes over to Louisville. I'm sure that came with a good chunk of change, and more power to him.
You see what Derek Queen said last night after?
Yes, bro. About his
after
coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, why do you guys play so hard for this coach? He's like, he pays us.
He do pay us. I mean, he do sign our checks. We kind of got to, but that's where it's at, bro. And the coach, like, instantly just face palmed.
Yeah, he's like, oh, God.
That's where we're at.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, yeah, for real, though, I hope someone takes it upon themselves to try and help the Colorado basketball program. Because, in my opinion, Tad Boyle is a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
We're not going to win in the Big 12 with NAIA and D2 transfers.
Are you
You can maybe have one of those guys on your roster as like a role player, but that was like 2 of your 5 starters.
Yeah. Are you surprised that like Coach Prime and the like influx of money at Colorado football, you know, I think the phrase we used when this happened 2-3 years ago was a rising tide lifts all boats, but basketball hasn't really seen any of the prime effect or any of that residual money effect. Is that surprising to you at all?
If you would have told me then, I would have said, yes, it's surprising. Now that I understand it, it's not as surprising. And I don't know how invested like the original Colorado football fans or original Colorado fans are, but the Coach Prime effect got people to open their wallets. And there was a trigger point there where it was like, hey, if we want to be able to see Coach Prime at his highest capacity, everyone's got to chip in. We got to actually do something here.
Yeah.
And I just think that like people are then giving everything they're willing to give to the football program. And the basketball team, you know, there was a time where people was trying to make the case that Colorado's a basketball school, you know, during the worst years of the football program and the best years of the basketball program. But I think for most fans of Colorado, basketball is like a nice thing to tide you over through the offseason of football. And so the people who are going to be most invested in the football program, I just don't think are that interested in the basketball program. The key to this, though, is started by James Harden.
Yep.
Who said, it's all about NIL? Well, I can help with that, period. And wrote a check for ASU basketball. Tad Boyle, one of his best achievements is how many players he's put into the NBA.
Got to tap into that.
There's a whole like community of Colorado basketball players in the NBA now. If those guys could band together to get a few $1 million into the program, it would change things drastically.
We're headed to overtime. If you're watching us on your television, head on over to DNVR.com. We're going to wrap up the show over there. I think you're right. I mean, I don't know. It's got to take the fans to step up, but someone else outside of the fan base needs to step up, I think, to help out college basketball. Maybe it is a former player, but in terms of keep up with these numbers that we were just talking about, like you need big time help.
And you got to think about these agents too. Like they trying to line their pockets as well. Like, you know, we've heard that there are players who are on the team, football or basketball, who are being shopped as though they are in the portal without actually being in the portal by their agent. You know what I'm saying? And that agent goes to a school, gets an offer, they bring it back to their client, their players, like, hey, if you hit the portal, this is the amount you can get. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old,
say less.
Why not? You know, of course, there's going to be, like I said, it's a cost for everything. But if you at that age and you can see that X amount of dollars, you know, whatever comes with it, you're probably going to take that. And how could you blame a young man? You know,
right?
Or young woman, young lady. just kind of where we're at now, which is scary sight.
It's also, I mean, this year was clearly just a transition year for Colorado. I mean, you have 3 NBA draft picks just leave you like that. It would have been nice to hold on to Neek, obviously, but that's like one of the consequences, as Tad said last week, of getting Cody. And as you brought up, like, you just have to take that chance, you know, to enter that prestige level of getting the 5-star, to maybe even throw your hats in on future 5-stars, their recruitment moving forward. You had to go get Cody. And if that meant losing Neek and I guess punting on, you know, this season, then so be it, because even they have recruits coming in this next year who are pretty highly talented. And Tad's done a decent job when it comes to high school recruiting.
Yes.
It's really just the portal that is holding the program back from reaching these heights that people have set.
Yeah, I mean, the portal at this point has hurt us more than it has helped us.
100%.
Which is the Colorado football story before Coach Prime.
Yep.
And my fear here is that what Tad and his staff does best is develop. And so they've brought in these 3-star guys to turn them into NBA players. But, you know, this year maybe ends up being an anomaly, but like Luke O'Brien is a player who took in as a Colorado kid, you know, similar to the Neek Clifford story. And by last year, you had developed him into a legitimate starter.
Yep.
And then you aren't able to see the payoff of his last year in college because he probably got $500,000 or you know, whatever to go somewhere else. I heard the number that Javon Hadley got to go to Louisville this weekend. I mean, those guys can't turn that down, but that unfortunately is then cutting the legs off of the strength of your program.
Yeah, and it's like you're a coach, you can recruit the high school ranks really well, but at this point, that's kind of an antiquated way to go about building a college basketball program in today's. You know, if you can reload every single year with ready guys in the transfer portal, it's kind of like crossover Coach Prime. That's what he was trying to do. Like,
exactly.
I'm not going to be able to recruit as well as I want to right away, but I can recruit the transfer portal. I can get guys immediately who can come in, and that's what these top basketball teams are doing. Like, I don't have to wait on somebody coming out of high school ranks when he's ready as a junior. I can get this senior who's already played 3-4 years of college basketball, and he's going to be ready to go right now. And recruiting is out of high school ranks is cool, and it used to be cooler. But nowadays, the transfer portal and how much. Like Jalen Rose, I think, said it on the broadcast this weekend. Where he was like, there's 2 words that can change a young man's mind in an instance. How much?
Yeah. And I mean, I assume we're going to have to fight to be able to hold on to Bengot Dak this offseason.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's,
I'm sure
again,
they will.
that's a Tadwell development story.
Right.
Like, Bengot Dak came in here extremely raw.
Yeah.
By the end,
early, I think. Skipped his senior year to come to Colorado.
And by the end of this season, I mean, you could see it. Like, he is very close to being a star.
And that was the thing last year during the season. Again, when they had 3 NBA players on the team, like, Tad him multiple times to go out of his way, be like, I know you don't say it right now, but Bengot Dak is going to be a good player for this program. And we obviously saw remnants of that this year. It would suck to lose him.
For sure. Let's go to the Toyota chat.
Chatsky.
What's up, Kev?
It's double overtime.
Double overtime. I love the idea of 2 teams having a spring game. He says maybe we can travel to Fart Collins and practice with mechanic/football coach. Nothing personal. Shout out to Norvell, a.k.a. J.
Bro, they hate that idea, Kev.
It's not going to happen, bro. It's not going to happen.
No more free clout for Colorado State.
Yes. What's up, Don Peasy? In the NFL, teams have had joint practices with a month or less notice. As for injuries, they can happen anytime. So I'd rather one happen in the spring than the season for healing time if I had to pick. The thing with that, though, is like the NFL know joint practices are they just don't know who it's against. Like, they just know they're coming at some point, though. Like, this is something that literally got brought up, like, last Monday by Coach Prime, whenever he had his press conference. Like, you know what I mean?
It was a week ago.
So
how do NFL joint practices get scheduled out? Is that like come down from the league, or just like
the
a team
just agree with each other?
it's like, I mean, the Broncos have like a great relationship with the 49ers, so they've done that a few times. You know what I mean? Like,
that was like the Elway Lynch days.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, like Vic Fangio came in. They did it with the Bears.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Don Peasy again. With all that said, I don't trust the NCAA to do the right thing ever. Facts.
How could you?
Facts.
They gonna
But
piss
they
so many
really
people off.
have been caving under pressure lately.
They have.
And that's what's going to really make people upset if they say no to this.
They've been trying to fight back recently too, though.
Really?
I mean, with the lawsuits and stuff, like they're kind of giving way, obviously, but they're trying to hold some structure of it together. Their power, or whatever it remains.
This man Kev is hilarious.
Kev says, who do you think is the next coaching hire, Shermer? Watch your ass, buddy. If you think Byron is just there to be a quote analyst or a quote QB coach, then that weed in Colorado is better than I thought.
I'll
Kev
say
said
this.
it, not me.
I'll say this. Coach Prime has never been afraid to make moves by
100%.
elevating people on his staff. And that doesn't just apply to this situation. It applies to every year that he's been a head coach of a football program.
Yep.
And so everyone should be on alert of the of getting outworked by the people underneath them on the org chart.
This is the first season in Coach Prime's career where he's had the same offensive coordinator as last year. He's changed damn near every season. Shedeur says it all the time. I've had a different offensive coordinator every year in my college career.
Could you imagine like Shedeur if they get the right combo there? Like let's just say Brian Callahan and they are just like nailing that offense, and he gets to be in the same offense for 3 straight years.
Scary.
Last one from CB. Can you guys add the visit schedule for recruits to the description so as fans can track what the team is going after? I mean, we talk about the visits in a timely fashion. I
Also,
think.
you have it tracked on the website usually like during the season.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Well, yes, during the season, yeah. Every weekend that we have a home game, I usually have a whole list.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean.
yeah. We try to stay on top of it. I think we're pretty good on it on the show, actually, too. So that's it.
All right.
Spring break for the team. Tomorrow's Tears Day.
Let's go.
What's that timeline?
A properly timed Tears Day?
I think so. I think it's time. We might have a guest later this week.
Yes, we might.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll get through spring break together. Technically about halfway through spring ball. So
Sheesh.
see y'all tomorrow. Go
Let's go
Buffs.
Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.